for Frank.
Good morning. My name is Frank Lange. It's my pleasure to welcome you to the Golden Gate Center for Spiritual Living. Thank you for coming to church on time. That was part of the reward. Would you please all take a moment to turn off your cell phones and electronic devices? I'll take a few moments and greet your neighbors.
She made it.
Wow. We'll let this go on for a moment. Oh, okay. Welcome back. Welcome back. I came across this in the last week in the old Golden Gate directory from 2007. Thank you, Susan. Ruda put this together. This is on the inside cover. Back in 1969, when he was an aspiring religious scientist, Lloyd Tupper was asked by his mentor, Raymond Charles Barker, well, just who are you? Well, just who are you? And Lloyd's response back in 1969 as follows. I am an individualized center of consciousness. I am the immortal principle that cannot die. I was made to image forth the likeness of God, and therefore I am an eternal beingness of God brought forth in this human form to give evidence of God in everything I do, say, and think. I am a prosperous expression of God, and therefore I am a dispenser of God's heavenly good. I am a sacred concentration of all that God is, and every particle, molecule, and atom of my beingness resonates to this truth. Therefore I live eternally in health. I am wealthy, happy, joyous, and forever expanding, and all good is mine. For those of you who may not know, Reverend Lloyd George Tupper is Minister Emeritus of the Golden Gate Center for Spiritual Living, which he founded in 1983 in San Francisco. The words to the morning chant will appear on the wall above me. We'll sing the song, and then we will get a morning treatment from Karyl.
How could anyone ever tell you are anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you are less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle? How deeply you're connected to my soul.
gosh, I love it when people cry and sigh in the first 5 minutes. It's fabulous. I'm Reverend Karyl Huntley, and I would like to especially welcome everyone who is here after a long time. I don't know what it is about today. Oh, my God. I don't know what it is about today, but there is like 10 of you that haven't been here in a long, long time. And I see your faces. And then, of course, I love the one that I love all of you that are here all the time, too. But don't even think, no favorites. But I noticed that people are here after a long time, so wow. Taking that in. And taking in the precious, precious message of that song that you, each one, are the beloved of my soul. I begin by knowing that I am centered in the one life of the infinite presence of God. I am that divine beingness that our beloved Lloyd Tupper spoke about in 1969. I am that one that is one with God, as is everyone here. And knowing that God is everywhere present, all-knowing and all-powerful, myself and each one here, we are connected to all that is. That is it. That's the truth. All that we could ever want, all that we could ever learn, all that we could ever give again, being divine dispensers of the heavenly good. All of it is present right here and right now, as close as our breath, as close as our heartbeat. The universe bends to us as we call it forth. And so holding in our hearts this morning our highest and greatest dreams, the answer to what I would love. It is the creative law that is asking for it right now to make it so for each one here and for the world. We have that capacity to heal any hurt, to bring forth any blessing. And it is today that each one here takes a step on the path of consciousness so that ever more powerful co-creations are made through us for the good of all and the harm of none. I give my thanks for this. Place it into the divine law, and I know it is done. And so it is. Amen. So our guest today, I've known most of her life. I knew her mom. I know her mom. I'm going to see her mom next week. And Firefly Walter is a part of the launching pad that we support with a part of our tithe every single month. It is an intentional community for young adults. And if the energy seems a little bit different today, it is because we have a handful of them right up here. These are fabulous young adults. So this is the young adult playpen over here, if anybody wants to join them. So right now, you have a treat in store because this beautiful young woman who has come up from little girlhood through big girlhood and now is this beautiful woman. Please welcome Firefly Walter.
Thank you. It is so wonderful to be here. It's been a couple of years since the launching pad has been to this center, and it's an honor to be back. And so, the first song that I'm going to share with you is an original, and I have Bodhi here playing with me, and this song is called Universal Mind, and I felt it was appropriate to play as it is a invitation of remembrance into the I am that, the oneness with all that is. gifts so I can be of greater service. Oh, divine, how I dance in thee, such a splendor your creation sings. I open up to the sky and tap into the divine mind. One divine universal mind. One divine universal mind. As peace, as truth express and prove. As peace, as truth express and light beings reunite in this space and time, this mountain of consciousness we are sent here to climb. The view from the top looks down below at all the blessed creation ascending aglow. Surrender to the sky and tap into the divine mind. One divine universal mind. It's everywhere present in all things everywhere. One divine universal mind. As me and as you express and prove. As me as you express and this mystical ocean inside the heart is forever moving, no end and no start. My heart is open, Creator, as I sit by your side, watching your hands move the planets, the wind and the tide. One divine universal mind. One divine universal mind. As peace, as truth express and prove. As peace, as truth express and prove. Oh, oh, as me, as you express and prove. As me, as you express and prove. God, in all things, everywhere, all situations. Thank you.
Thank you. Universal Mind is definitely expressing through you. Good morning. My name is Posey Lyon. I'm your platform practitioner this morning. And it is my pleasure to simply take this moment to be, with this beautiful beingness of God expressed through each one of you. So, as usual, we start with gratitude, and this morning, I'd like every core council member to stand, if you would. Can we give them some big love? Oh, my goodness. Woo-hoo! And Gail in the back here. Our core council lovingly gives of their time and their consciousness to combine both spirit and business to really co-create everything that happens in this community. So thank you so much. The children, I guess, are in the room in our hearts. And so we just bless the inner child this morning. And today we are launching the Legacy Circle. These are the group of Golden Gators who have already put Golden Gate Center in their wills. And they've included GGCSL in their estate planning. So there is a table over here if you are at all interested in that. There's information on that table. And is Bob Gordon here? Bob, would you come up and talk about your decision? Bob Gordon's in the house.
Thank you, Posey. I first came to Golden Gate in 2000, and I was invited by Rita Abrams, who was a client, and it was the first time that I had ever been in a church or in a spiritual community that I felt totally at home. It was remarkable, and I've come almost every Sunday since then and very active, both in this chapter and Golden Gate and also nationally. And the philosophy is just extraordinary. I've never been exposed to anything like that before. And it has really affected my life in a way that is very profound. I'm much less judgmental. I don't pay as much attention as I used to whether something is right or wrong. And I feel like I'm on the path to wholeness, and I'm very, very grateful for all of this, and grateful enough to want to help out and to perpetuate the spread of the philosophy of science of mind. And I have decided, and I did, make provision in my will to give a donation, a legacy, to Golden Gate. And it's an easy way to do it because you don't have to worry about whether you're going to have enough money to survive retirement, or if you don't have a job, where it takes effect when you pass on. And so that it makes it a little less burdensome that way. But I encourage everyone to consider making a legacy to Golden Gate. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. The altar team is also looking for new volunteers. You get to create something beautiful or profound. Janet Ryan did today's altar. So if there's that creative little nudge in you when you hear that and you go, oh, why don't you say yes? Because that's the universal mind nudging us. So also, fall classes. How many here know that Ernest Holmes, our founder, founded this philosophy as a teaching institute? And then he got talked into making it a church, but it started as a teaching modality. So if you're not taking a class, you're not getting the full richness of what this community has to offer. And Janet Ryan will be teaching a almost brand new class. It's been taught once before. It's open to everyone. It's called The Power of Your Word. And speak your word, create your world. And it starts what date? November 11th. And if you've had the foundations class, then you are eligible to take spiritual practices for daily living, which I will be teaching starting October 1st. And it is one of the most powerful classes we teach here because it's about going deeper. It's really, really honing our skill in spiritual mind treatment and in practicing the presence. And therefore changing our thinking to change our lives for better and better and better and better. And it starts with consciousness. It starts with what we're thinking and feeling in our hearts. So if you're interested, please come see me after the service at the education table over here. And pay attention now. Is everyone awake? The last Sunday of this month, September 29th, will not be here. Can we all say that? It will not be here. It will be at the Corte Madera Inn. Where will it be? Okay, it's also the Great Western, isn't it? Yeah, it's also known as the Best Western. So don't come here on September 29th because we won't be here. So, and if you're here for the first time, we want to welcome you. You are individualized expressions of God, unique beyond perhaps your wildest imagination. And we see you. We know who you are. And we'd love you to keep coming back so that we see even more of who you are. And Reverend Karyl will be at the newcomers table after the service. And there are more announcements in your bulletin, so make sure to read it. Thank you.
Old, it's so good to see you. We are working with a theme this whole year. The whole theme is called The New World and the Ancient Path. And every week I try to bring something from the ancestors, you know that I love them, and the brand new cutting edge discoveries and inventions that inform us about spiritual truth. And today is no exception. The theme for the month, because we follow actually the farming year, because that's what our ancestors did. And September, the theme for September is contribution, because if you think about it, the air, the seeds, the earth have contributed, and the result is the harvest. And that's what's happening right now. And so we get to take that word, contribution, which is all the words we've had this year are on that ancient calendar there, which they used to do in a circle, which makes so much sense to me. But anyway, contribution is the word for the month, and what we're doing is we're looking at how that applies to our own life. So we absolutely make a contribution to life. We cannot not make a contribution. We cannot be anonymous. Have you seen that? You know, we can't be invisible because we're here. And as I love that Frank did this, I was made to image forth the likeness of God, and therefore I am an eternal beingness of God brought into this human form. So you don't even want to be anonymous. You want to obviously be a contributor. And so the ripples of our influence move far and wide across the universe, and this is confirmed both in metaphysics, ancient metaphysics, when we had Indra's net on the altar last week, and it is confirmed in modern science when we think of string theory, because everything is connected to everything. And so Janet Ryan did this wonderful altar today, and what this symbolizes is actually the beingness of God being made manifest. So the figure here is symbolic of our our guide, our helper, our essence. The shell is the radiant uniqueness that each one of us is, and the bowl is the ripples that ripple out our contribution into the world. Isn't this fabulous how this happens? It all comes together. So I wanted to give you a little quote from the book of quotes that I put together from John O'Donoghue. John O'Donoghue is an Irish mystic that seems to speak to my soul. And he says, "The life and passion of a person leaves an imprint on the ether of a place. Love does not remain within the heart. It flows out to build secret tabernacles in the landscape." Yeah. Your love ripples out. Where you've been is a secret tabernacle. Where you are. Where you have been. Secret tabernacle in the landscape. So the title of my talk today is If You Could Leave One Thing. Now that refers to our ultimate contribution, either the one thing that we came in to give the world or what we give the world in our totality. You know, there's a poem that I have heard in funerals. It's called The Dash. You might have heard it if you have attended a funeral. And basically, it's a longish poem about the dash between the birth date and the death date. And what it talks about is what you have done with your dash. And it is what we have done with our time here on earth. What we have given, how we've expressed ourselves, how we have left a ripple. So before I go further, although Lloyd's quote has sort of said this, I want to talk a little bit about how we got here in the first place, because sometimes you end up in a body and you go, "Oh my God, what have I done? What happened here?" And so the teaching of this wisdom tradition, Science of Mind, says all is consciousness. What that means is exactly what Firefly sang about, that there is one universal mind of which we all partake, and our beliefs, our choices, our attitudes, what we call forth with our word and with our worry, all of that is the creative capacity and how we bring something into the world. So if that's how it's done, then there must have been a consciousness that called us in, that called us from wherever we were before now, called us into this realm. And it could have been your parents. It could have been the culture. It could have been a whole need of society. You know, at Christmas time we talk about the birth of Jesus, but 400 years before the birth of Jesus, in the book of Isaiah, it was written, "Unto us a child is born. Unto us a son is given." That was a calling forth. That was the consciousness calling forth that being that was such an example ever since. And that was 400 years before Jesus showed up. So there was a consciousness that called each one of us in, and that was matched, I believe, by our consciousness wanting to come in. Because we are immortal beings. Before, during, and after our time here. Let me say that once again. We are immortal beings. Before we took a body, now that we're in a body, it hasn't changed, we're immortal. And then after we pass on, we're still here. You know, I mean, everybody gets through death alive and well. I just want to say that. So the reason for us coming in, therefore, is our contribution. It is our legacy, which is the word for today. It is our dash. It is the promise of what we would be. And what we want to do is end up at the end of our dash being a promise fulfilled. We came in as a promise, and we want to end up this lifetime as a promise fulfilled. Because each one of us changes the world. We can't help it. That's what I started with. And so the principle that we're working with today is we each change the world. And so, of course, we want to change it for the better, right? Okay, right. Very good. So I can feel this already. I can feel this, that we have a reluctance to think about this. We have a reluctance to think about the dash business because we don't want to think about death. We have a resistance to thinking about what our ultimate contribution is because we think of the time when we can't make a contribution anymore in this earthly plane. And it's so, we're uncomfortable about our death, and so we don't think about it. But I want to tell you something. Whether you think about it or not, it will happen to you. It will happen to me and happen to you. And so as with everything else, if we think about it, we can prepare better for it, right? And my thing about leaving something, if I could leave one thing, it would be that all of us feel really, really good about our deaths. And that we feel really, really good about the contribution we've made. And we feel really, really good about going home again after we've finished our contribution. Now, I got this lesson really, really with my mom's passing. My mom passed December 9th, 2008. And I was with her pretty much every moment for the last 2 days that she was on this earthly plane. And she was not conscious all the time. She would come in and out of consciousness, and she would say these amazing things. They were so amazing that I took notes. I took notes on her last words for her last 3 days of life. And one of the times she came back, and she knew she was dying. And she said, "It's my gift for Christmas." Because we'd already been talking about Christmas, and we didn't know it was going to happen quite so soon. And it was like December 7th that she said this. And I had to interpret many of the things she said. But this one, I really thought, her gift for Christmas is going home. And this is a woman who loved her life. I mean, she loved me. She loved her grandkids. She loved all of her students. It wasn't like she was hurrying up to go somewhere else. She loved everybody that she had an interaction with. And yet, when the time came, she knew it was a gift to go home. That's what I want for all of us. So if with me, you will think about this for 15 minutes, okay? Well, can we just think about this for 15 minutes? And then you don't have to think about it, for years if you don't want to. So if we think about this for 15 minutes, and we think about the legacy that we're going to leave, we would want to leave the world better, right? We would want to contribute something, lots of things probably. We would want to contribute to the positive movements that are on the planet right now. Like as a species, I truly believe that we're beginning to learn that cooperation works better than war. I mean, no matter what happens with Syria and Russia and the United States from here on out, what has happened in the last week means that a whole lot of us want cooperation and not war. This is something to contribute your life to. There's also a movement that contribution works better than hoarding. I'm the one who, in the attic of my great-grandmother's house, there was a box that was labeled "pieces of string too short to use." Just saying. I came from people who were loath to throw anything out. But we know that sharing works better than hoarding. I know that. That's why I share my stuff. I've told this to the practitioners, but I'll tell it to because there are some people here today that knew and loved my mom who aren't practitioners. My mom from decades ago, when she was in Tucson, Arizona, had a rubber tree growing in the house, and she would take cuttings off of it for years, and she'd give them to everybody. And when she passed, there was a little rubber tree that had a little life left in it. And so I have grown it into several big rubber trees and cuttings. And I have told the practitioners that if they want a cutting of my mom's rubber tree, and I'm delivering the first 2 babies today, that they can have it, and anybody else too, I'll add you to the list, so come and see me. Anyway, okay, so leaving the environment, the world better is what we want, and that's a lesson that I learned from Lloyd too, when years ago he taught all of his students to leave the bathrooms in airplanes cleaner than when you went in. So, I mean, I shine up everything. You know, I take the suds out of the little sink and, you know, shine up everything, make sure all the little trash doors are flush and all that. And makes me feel good because I'm leaving the world better. So the principle, once again, is we each change the world, and so we want to make it better. So here's the lesson for today in leaving a legacy. First thing is begin early. Begin early, young adults. Begin early. Okay, and what early means to the rest of us is now. So I found on Facebook there was this amazing story about this 19-year-old boy who has figured out a way to clean up the oceans, for God's sakes. And I'm going to send it out in my letter. If you don't get my letter, I'll tell you how to do it. But I'm going to send out this link, this little TED Talk of this 19-year-old who has figured out how to take the plastic bottles that are the size of Texas in 5 oceans now and clean it up and recycle the plastic, making enough money that the whole project will make money and not lose money. That's a legacy. That is a legacy. So this young man has this invention come through him, and you know, many of us might not have a big invention that is supposed to come through us, but there's something, and the practice that we have called visioning will help you. And visioning is where you ask a question of the infinite in meditation, and then you don't try to answer it with your best thinking. You wait. You wait. So here's the question for you. What is mine to give? I'll put that in the letter too. What is mine to give? You ask that for 21 days, and you'll have your legacy if you don't already have it. And I want to say that all of the good that you've done so far has made the world a better place. And all the good that you do every single day, like some of us are on that 21 days of kindness thing, and we do a kindness thing every day from 9/11 forward for 21 days. So if you do a kindness or if you do good in the world, it's not only good for the person that you do it for, but the ripples go out. And so I'm saying this to practitioners. Practitioners, when you pray for someone, I want you to know that that prayer not only works for the someone, but the ripples of that prayer go out forever. And so as you do your work, practitioners, hold that. It's not just one prayer for one person. It's a prayer for the world. And I thank you for it. Okay. Next, heal the past. So Suzanne Karch sent me this amazing email about a 9/11 story, and we did pass 9/11 this week, did we not? So, have you heard about this story from Delta Flight 15 that was flying to Frankfurt over the North Atlantic when the announcement came in that all planes in the air had to land? And so the captain determined that the closest land was 400 miles behind him in Gander, Newfoundland. So this plane landed in Gander, Newfoundland, and the little Gander, and I don't even know, it can't be very big, but little Gander ended up with 53 planes. 53 planes on the runway, and all of them were, because nobody knew who was had bombs or anything. They said, we're going to take you off one at a time. And so this plane had to stay on the runway for the whole night. So and there was a pregnant lady on it, like really pregnant. So anyway, they said about 10:30 on the morning of the 12th, a convoy of school buses showed up. We got off the plane. This is written by a flight attendant. We got off the plane, and we, the crew, were separated from the passengers and were taken in vans to a small hotel. We had no idea where our passengers were going. We learned from the Red Cross that the town of Gander has a population of 10,400, and they had about 10,500 passengers to take care of from all the airplanes that were forced into Gander. We were told to just relax at the hotel, and we would be contacted when the U.S. airports opened again, and not to expect that call for a while. 2 days later, we got the call and were taken back to the Gander airport. Back on the plane, we were reunited with the passengers and found out what they had been doing for the past 2 days. What we found out was incredible. Gander and all of the surrounding communities within about 75 kilometers radius had closed all high schools, meeting halls, lodges, and any other large gathering places. They converted all these facilities to mass lodging areas for the stranded travelers. Some had cots set up, and some had mats with sleeping bags and pillows set up. All the high school students were required to volunteer their time to take care of the guests. Families were kept together, and all the elderly passengers were taken to private homes. Remember the pregnant lady? She was put up in a private home right across the street from a 24-hour urgent care facility. During the day, they were offered excursions. They were asked what they wanted to eat and were taken to those restaurants. Local bakeries gave fresh bread. Everyone was given tokens for laundry facilities because they didn't have any luggage. In other words, every single need was met for those stranded travelers. It was absolutely incredible. So when the passengers came back on board, it was like they'd been on a cruise. Everyone knew each other's name, and then a very unusual thing happened. One of our passengers approached me and asked if he could make an announcement over the PA system. We never, ever allow that, but this time was different. I said, of course, and handed him the mic. He picked up the PA and reminded everyone about what they had just gone through in the last few days. He reminded them of the hospitality they had received at the hands of total strangers. He continued by saying that he would like to do something in return for the good folks of Gander. He said he was going to set up a trust fund under the name of Delta 15. The purpose of the trust fund is to provide college scholarships for high school students. So that day, they collected more than $14,000. The man who made the announcement was a doctor and matched the funds, and he set up a scholarship place to continue giving money. And as I write this account, the trust fund is at more than $1.5 million and has assisted 134 students in college education. If there's a hurt in your past, is there a way that you could think of that you could make a gift out of it for the world, like happened here? That is really and truly healing the past. Next is do what you can do. This is actually one of the reasons that we have set up the Legacy Circle, because we found that there are people who really, really want to put the Golden Gate Center in their will or estate plan, and it can be done in any number of ways, little or big. And so you have stuff, you have money that goes somewhere. And if not here, choose another place and send your stuff and your money to the highest vision of your life. That's what you can do. Next is be a part of a gift that is bigger than your lifetime. So I've been doing some research about Notre Dame for a project I'm working on. And so there's this story about 3 stonemasons who worked on Notre Dame, which, you know, took more than 200 years to build. That's 8 generations. People worked on cutting the stone and never, ever, ever saw the walls rise. And so just like Lloyd's teacher, Raymond Charles Barger, asked him who he was, there was a man who went to these 3 stonemasons who were working on Notre Dame and said to the first one, "Who are you?" And this man said, "Oh, I am just a worker who tries to wrench these pieces of rock from this mountain, and I wait until the sun is on the horizon so I can have a tankard of beer." And he went to the next person and said, "Who are you?" And the stonemason said, "Well, I'm a mason who cuts really straight stone out of this mountain, and I know it's going to go into a wall, and I want the wall to be all smooth and flush, so I do my best, but boy, I'm ready for the sun to go right there on the horizon so I can have a tankard of beer." And he went to the third person and said, "Who are you?" And the man took his hammer and chisel and held it to his heart and said, "I am a builder of a cathedral." And so for us to really think about a gift that is larger than our lifetime is so empowering. Planting a tree that will get, 10 feet in your lifetime and make shade for your grandchildren and great-grandchildren. And then the last today is tell your story. Each one of us has an empowering story. Each one of you has done miraculous, heroic things. Each one of you has experience in making the world a better place. And I want you to tell your story. And we have someone today who wants to tell his story. I love this story. Please welcome Bruce Williamson.
Thank you, Karyl. I'm glad to be here with all of you this morning. One of my favorite cartoons shows 2 caterpillars watching a butterfly soar overhead, and one of the caterpillars turns to the other and says, "You'll never get me up in one of those things." And metamorphosis and change and growth is like that with many of us. We sometimes know it's on its way and we don't know it yet, and sometimes we don't know it until after we've been through it. 14 and a half months ago, on July 1st, 2012, I was driving on Interstate 280 South on my way to the Center for Spiritual Living in San Jose. And about Highway 85, I started getting intensely dizzy and felt I was going to pass out while I was at the wheel driving 65 miles an hour. I knew something was wrong. I knew I needed to go for help. And as it turned out, very fortuitously, the Santa Clara Kaiser Permanente emergency room was just a few miles away, and I was able to drive myself safely there. And later the cardiologist told me that what I was experiencing that morning was what he called a smoldering heart attack. Now, I parked my car that morning, and I walked in through the front doors of the ER. I didn't lose consciousness. Nobody yelled, "Clear," and shocked my heart, had to shock my heart back to life. But they wheeled me upstairs into the cardiac catheterization lab pretty quickly and did an angiogram so that they could find out, what's going on inside there. I know that's a question a lot of us have about our hearts. What's going on inside there? And what they found out was this. The left anterior descending artery, LAD for short, is one of the most vital blood vessels in our entire cardiovascular system. And it's sometimes called the widowmaker. Mine was 90% blocked. Now, they put in 3 stents that morning, and I'm really glad they did. My blood started immediately flowing a lot better. And my friends all told me afterwards that I had pinked up quite a bit. Now, the doctors also found, Karyl was just talking about healing the past, they found a lot of old hurt. They found the remnants and the evidence of maybe 3 or 4 silent heart attacks from the past. But while they were looking around in there that morning, they also found something that let them know that they were dealing with a heart that was still vital, still strong, and still resilient. Because what they found that morning was an abundance of extra blood vessels spread out over my heart. Now you see, when there is need, I repeat that, when there is need, our hearts have a remarkable ability to grow a whole network of extra arteries and make new connections between them. It's a process called arteriogenesis, or collateral circulation. It's a natural thing built right into the heart, and it's triggered by the arteries getting clogged, which is what had happened in my case. Now, as it turned out, my heart really, really needed those extra arteries. Because, remember that angiogram they did? When they looked around some more, they found out there's something called the right coronary artery. And the right coronary artery supplies the entire right side of the heart with blood. It's a very important artery. Without it, my heart could not function. And yet that morning on the angiogram, they found out that my right coronary artery was 100% blocked. It could not be opened. It could not be recovered in any way. And they didn't even tell me this until 10 days later. What was happening was this. If you wonder what that means, practically speaking, it means that for maybe as long as a year or more before last July 1st of last year, my heart, my wonderful, creative, intelligent heart had been growing this alternative set of arteries to supply the whole right side of itself, and maybe part of the left side too. My amazing, beautiful, blessed heart had basically performed its own coronary bypass operation on itself. It's kind of like the ultimate do-it-yourself project, don't you think? When I was thinking about this after it was all over, I came across some words by Leonard Cohen that just knocked me out. He says, "Ring the bells that still can ring. Forget your perfect offering. There is a crack in everything. That's how the light gets in." The words emergency and the word emergence both come from the same root word, meaning arise, bring to light. That morning in the emergency room, I arose and brought myself into the light of help and healing there. This morning, all of us arose and brought ourselves here into the light of help and healing and community and inspiration here in this emergence room called the Golden Gate Center for Spiritual Living. It's been really educational and humbling and amazing and scary and fun to have been given a new lease on my living here on this plane. I am deeply thankful to my heart for what it's been up to all that time. And I have no doubt anymore that there really is a divine mind. There really is a power and a presence that is always, always singing, always flowing, always pulsing through each of our lives. Mary Oliver, in her poem, The Summer Day, asks a question, a wonderful question, that now I'm getting another chance to answer. She says this: tell me, what is it you plan to do with your one wild and precious life? Thank you.
everything that I needed to know I learned in kindergarten, has written a number of books. This one is From Beginning to End. And in it, he talks about going and sitting on his own grave. He knows where his body is going to be buried, and he goes and sits there. And this is what he writes about it. Visiting my grave has the reliable capacity to untwist the snarls in my mind and soul, especially when I get angry about small things or lose track of what's important. On one visit, I realized that if I died that day and my wife were to put an honest epitaph on my headstone, it would say, "Here lies a jackass, too pissed off to live long." How I'd hate to die mad. So he says, I have never liked the phrase that says we're just made of dust and return to dust. We are energy, which is interchangeable with light. We are fire and water and earth. We are air and atoms and quarks. Moreover, we are dreams, hopes, and fears, held together by wisdom and driven apart by folly. So much more than dust. The biblical verse should say, "Miracle thou art, and to mystery returneth." I'll read that again. "Miracle thou art, and to mystery returneth." My life gives off a kind of light as it consumes its energy. That light may shine long after the source is gone. That's what I'm talking about this morning. Having your light shine long after your breaths are finished. That's what I want. And in closing, the inner work is going to be a prayer for myself, because this is so personal. I can't really pray this for you unless you say "me too." And you can say "me too" in your own heart right now. So turning within, I remember that God is everywhere in every single dimension, that immortal principle is the author of the universe and the creator of me, body, mind, and spirit. I know that I have been shot from the heart of God into this earthly plane to live and to prosper, to learn and to bless. I know that I came from the heart of God, am in the heart of God even though in form now. And when I lay down my form, I will awake to know that I am still in the heart of God. And so knowing that the number of sunrises left to me may be counted, they are not infinite, although I am, I pray that I use every day to the greatest advantage for the good of all and the harm of none. May I remember my immortality and my mortality on this earthly plane. May I give what I came to give in the time that I have to give it. May I be blessed with the giving, and may I see the world better because I have been here. I place this fervent prayer into the law. It is my deepest wish, and I know because it corresponds to the law of God that it is answered. And so it is. Amen.
Kind friends all gathered round. There's something I would say, that what brings us together here has blessed us all today. Love has made a circle that holds us all in sight, where strangers are as family loneliness can't hide. You must give yourself to love. If love is what you're after, open up your hearts to the tears and laughter, and give yourself to love. Give yourself to love. I've walked these mountains in the rain. I've learned to love the wind. Have been out before the sunrise to watch the day begin. I always knew I'd find you, though I never did know how. Like sunshine on a cloudy day, you stand before me now. You must give yourself to love. Love is what you're after. Open up your hearts to tears and laughter, and give yourself to love. Give yourself to love. Love is born in fire. It's planted like a seed. Love can't give you everything, but love will give you what you need. Love comes when you're ready. Love comes when you're afraid. Love will be your greatest teacher and the best friend you have made. You must give yourself to love. Love is what you're after. Open up your hearts to the tears and laughter, and give yourself to love. Give yourself to love. Give yourself to love. Love is what you're after. Open up your hearts to the tears and laughter, and give yourself to love. Give yourself to love.
Firefly Walter.
Woo! Well, you are just welcome here anytime, and that goes for all y'all.
We're going to bring them back with their band.
Okay, great. So now at this time, would the ushers please come forward? And as we give ourselves to love, just put that in the form of some of that supply that you worked so hard for, and as you give it to this community, you know that you're giving it to the person sitting right next to you, because it's just us here. So if you would hold your gift in your hands, bless it, honor it, be really, really happy in giving it for its good work that is done here. And this supply goes to support this empowering, life-giving philosophy, reach more and more and more beings, reminding them of the truth that lives within their heart. And so it is. Would the ushers please receive the gifts?
I sing my love. I sing my love. I sing my love into the world. I sing my love. I sing my love. I sing my love into the world. I sing my love. I sing my love. I sing my love into the world. I sing my love. I sing my love. I sing my love into the world. I dance my joy. I dance my joy. I dance my joy. I dance my joy into the world. I dance my joy. I dance my joy. I dance my joy into the world. I dance my joy. I dance my joy. I dance my joy into the world. I dance my joy. I dance my joy. I dance my joy into the world. I live my peace. I live my peace. I live my peace into the world, into the world. I live my peace. I live my peace. I live my peace into the world. Oh, I live my peace. I live my peace. I live my peace into the world. I live my peace. I live my peace. I live my peace into the world. One more. Walk my talk. I walk my talk. I walk my talk. I walk my talk into the world, into the world, into the world. I walk my talk. I walk, I walk. I walk my talk. I walk, I walk my talk into the world. I walk my talk. I walk my talk. I walk my talk into the world, into the world. I walk my talk. I walk my talk. I walk my talk into the world, into the world, into the world, into the world, into the world. Gonna give to the world. Gonna give to the world.
I give thanks for these gifts. I give thanks for these dear hearts here. I give thanks for the love we share together. I give thanks for the music and the open-heartedness. I give thanks for the cameras and the media and the sound system and the altar and the coffee and the books and the kitchen and the offering. Blessed be. All of it, all of it. Whoa. So we're coming down to the end here. Posey's going to come up and pray us out. The practitioners are coming forward. If any of you would like a prayer, please visit the Legacy Circle people at the Legacy Circle table. Please visit the altar, the bookstore, the coffee. Come back next week. And thank you, Bruce. And I'll be at the Welcome Newcomers table, but all of you that I haven't seen for a long time, come back there and hug me. I hug you.
It's a regular old hugathon.
So would any practitioner or minister still in the room please surround our community with your love? And I invite everyone else and the practitioners to close your eyes if you wish. To just breathe into this moment of privilege as I go within and contemplate the allness, the unconditional love of God, pouring itself in and through all of life, all of creation, everything starting as a thought in the mind of God. I am a droplet of water in the ocean that is God. There's no part of me that can ever be, has ever been separate from that one life. I live and move and have my being in that one life, in that unconditional love, in that ocean of love and joy and sweetness and abundance and power and presence. It's all within me available. And everything that is true about and for me is true about and for everyone in the sound of my voice and way beyond. There's only one. And so I claim for each one of us that opening that allows us to experience that love, that joy, that peace, that sweet divinity that is each one of our lives. I claim for each one to open to allowing love to lead the way so that each one of us gives our gifts, that we fill the dash with so much good, joy, delight, so that when each one of us is ready to leave this earthly home, that we feel each one of us complete, knowing we have given our gifts, given the love that is the truth of our being, lived full out, and so that each one of us goes home to spirit with peace, in love, in joy. I'm so grateful for all the ways God moves so sweetly and beautifully and lovingly through each one of our lives. And I release this word to the law, knowing it must bring this word forth, pressed down, overflowing. It is done. And I let it be. And so it is. Amen.
So I invite you all to stand for our affirmation and closing song. Go right up here. I pledge to leave the world better, stronger, more loving, clearer, and more consciously aware of divine truth than before I took breath. I work each day to contribute my greatest gifts so that where I walked, there is greater good now and forevermore.